You're listening to the AFTERBUZZ TV Network, now the largest new media platform on the web, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment.
Very good, Dean Johnson.
From the AFTERBUZZ Studios in Los Angeles, California, presented by Maria Menounos and Bing.com, and streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies, this is AFTERBUZZ TV's Ray Donovan After Show. We'll break down tonight's episode and get you all the latest news and gossip. And now, another post-game wrap-up show for your favorite TV show. It's AFTERBUZZ TV's Ray Donovan After Show.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Bing is for doing, and we're doing AFTERBUZZ TV After Show for Showtime's Ray Donovan. Today, we're going to be recapping episode 4 of season 1, titled Black Cadillac. I'm Kennelia, and I'm joined by two fabulous hosts. Guys, introduce yourselves.
Hey, I'm Anna Koppel.
Hey everybody, it's Sean O.
Like I said, we're going to be recapping Black Cadillac. This was a very interesting episode, to say the least. We got a lot of questions answered that we were asking in the previous episode, specifically, who is Claudette? And we finally got to meet her today. If you guys weren't, if this is your first time tuning in, Claudette is Mickey's, one of his baby's mothers.
Yes.
She's Daryl's mom. We finally saw her. Daryll, Bunchy, and Mickey drove out to Palm Springs to meet Claudette. She got remarried to a famous producer. Everybody except Mickey was a little, iffy about taking the trip or the drive, but Mickey seemed excited. He brought a cactus with him, and
it was a very phallic cactus, by the way.
It was. They got out of the car, and Mickey, excited, knocked on the front door, and we were introduced to Claudette's new family. Did we catch her husband's name? Because I was really unsure about what his name was, or I just knew he was a producer.
Yeah.
He had all the movie posters on the wall. He had awards up in the room.
I think his name doesn't really. Listen, I know that we've been doing a poor job with names here this whole series, guys. But I think in this particular character, it really kind of doesn't matter because he's supposed to be the other guy.
Yeah.
So it doesn't really. My stepdad, that jerk.
I feel like this whole series is like they don't even give the people's names right away, and they're just like, oh, this person, we're visiting this person. Or like they kind of want to keep us like intrigued and wanting to know more information. Once they introduce the characters, they'll refer to them more often, and we'll be like, oh, okay, we know who they're talking about now. Like this episode, like regarding the whole name thing, they talk about Van Miller, who's that crazy, weird Hitler-looking detective guy, and Mickey actually alluded to him, like, oh, Van or whatever, right? So we know. Now with this producer dude, like he is kind of like whatever, but I'm sure they'll like bring his name up later on.
I'm sure they will too, especially, well, maybe not, because I'm going to just jump ahead a little bit. Claudette pretty much told Mickey that she was happy in her new life and that, she really isn't interested in going back down the same road with Mickey. She seemed happy to see him, and you can tell that they still have that chemistry and that connection, but she wasn't really about walking away from what she had. So let's just back it up a little bit. We saw, as soon as they come in, there was an interaction in the living room. Everyone was gathered around to toast to Mickey's arrival.
Let's back it up before that, because they come in, they, like you said, they still have that chemistry. They meet eyes. She's like, wow, Mickey, it's been so long. And his romantic line is, black don't crack.
Well, it doesn't. I mean,
such a compliment for Claudette.
But I mean, come on, Mickey.
That's all he
had. Do it a little bit better.
He's got
a little bit better.
He's got like that. He's got that older mentality. He's just gonna say whatever he wants, and he's living in the 80s still. It's so funny. Like just the way he dresses, everything he says, and he fancies himself to be an alpha male. He really does. He's just like going everywhere. He's pissing all over everything. He brought a gift for them. I'm sure he didn't even care about giving it to that guy. It was just like this tiny little cactus, He just wants to be there for Claudette.
Also, they have cactus in Palm Springs.
Yeah.
It's not even a good gift.
He had a giant cactus right there in the house when he gave it to him.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mickey. So once he had the introduction, as soon as they walked in, they all gathered around for a toast. And the mystery guy, whatever his name is, he pulled out a nice bottle of cognac. He gave a speech and he mentioned how he had this special bottle and he was, saving it for a special occasion. Mickey asked, "So how much does a bottle of that run you?" And then the guy says something along the lines of, "Well, if you have to ask, you probably can't afford it."
Which is seriously the most like tasteless thing you can say. Like, why not insult your guest? Come on, man.
Yeah, he probably, he has this ex-con in his living room. He, Mickey still dresses like it's the 80s, really. Like, he had on his, like, old school sport coat with a gold chain. Like, he looks very vintage.
He does.
He looks vintage.
He looks very vintage. So.
Yeah, but both things I think were rude to say. You don't ask, I don't think you ever ask somebody what something costs unless they're selling it to you. Unless it's a salesperson. And especially not in a group setting.
Yeah,
I think that's a rude question.
I know, especially if you're like, if someone's nice enough to have you in their house and they're serving you like this really expensive looking liquor, just like, hey, I'm just going to take it, I'm going to enjoy it. Just ask what it is, what year it is. The guy, he did allude to it, and he's like, oh, it's a 95, and when I bought it then, it was $2,000.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
He did. But this is also coming from a guy who was watching twerk videos at the public library. So we can't,
Fair point.
Mickey, he has a gold chain. You can't expect anything.
So if anybody's in the wrong for this, it's Mickey for starting the chain of events that led up to this faux pas.
I mean, Mickey, he didn't have to ask. It was both ways. It was a hilarious interaction, to say the least. Everybody toast. Mickey stole Bunchy's drink. Mind you, he lets Bunchy do coke with him, but he wouldn't let him have
some cognac,
which is, that was a little point that stood out to me.
What happened there? Because he let him drink later.
Right. I don't know. They passed it around and he just said he's recovering. He doesn't need it, and he took his cognac.
Yeah, I don't know what happened there, but I thought and I was just sort of filling in the blanks myself. Bunchy and Daryll had been acting like complete children, on
the ride over. They were just like window goes up, window goes down, window goes up, and he wouldn't stop doing it. And Mickey had to intervene and be like the parent, like, stop, you two.
I'm gonna turn this car around. Yeah, and then Daryl's playing, and it was terrible.
It was really bad.
It was Daryl's car though.
It was his car. He was playing his single that he recorded when he was 18.
Yeah.
15 years ago.
Yeah, it was really bad.
Yeah. So, anyway.
Oh, he liked it, and he got his feelings hurt when everybody pooped all over it.
True.
But so that was my sort of assumption, was that Mickey was punishing him somehow.
Yeah.
By taking away. I'm going to take away your cognac if you're not nice to your brother.
Yeah, that's a really good point, actually. And I was going to add that he's just being the alpha male like Mickey is. That's what he's doing with Ray's family. He's just invading. He's just getting in there. He's just marking his territory all over everything,
Yeah. So after that, they go upstairs to the office, and Mickey has a discussion with Claudette's new husband. Obviously, he had posters and awards. There was a Golden Globe on the bookshelf. Two. And then Mickey says something.
I saw Emmys there too.
He was like, "You done anything good?" Yeah, Mickey. There's a Golden Globe on the shelf.
But Mickey doesn't know. He probably doesn't know what those things are. He's been in the Slammer for so long. I'm sure he doesn't probably care about any of those awards, right?
Yeah, of course he doesn't care about them, but it was 20 years ago. It wasn't 50 years ago. I mean,
yeah, I'm sure they were broadcasting award shows a lot.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. They have TV in the Slammer. He knows what it is.
Yeah.
Well, he's just using it to just piss the guy off.
True. So Claudette comes. Mickey has an intimate moment with Claudette. He pulls out a picture of not his family or his doing, of Ray's family. And he shows it to Claudette. She's like, "Oh, that's really nice. That's cute." And then her husband gets up and leaves because it got a little awkward right there. You can see that it was a little too memory lane-ish.
I felt like I was kind of taking notes during that part, but I kind of felt like she was by the way she sounded when she said that, Claudette sounded like she was genuinely happy for them. Like, oh, you've been wanting to see them all this time. You always talked about them.
Yeah, that's what it seemed like. It seemed they have a relationship that it seems as if she still feels the same way she does about him now, like she did in the past. But she has a good life. You can't really turn around and walk away from a good life for someone who just got out of prison. Like, it's just not something you do.
Well, she said when we got to the black Cadillac, she said, "You saved my life, and I owe you for that. I owe you a lot." And so I'm sure that there is this sense of gratitude, but that doesn't mean that she's the same person that she was 20 years ago. That doesn't mean that she's not in love with this guy. That doesn't mean that she's willing to throw away her life that she's built these last 20 years.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No,
Go ahead.
please.
You actually bring up a really good point, and I wanted to talk about that too. Is he saved her life? What, like, now we know he saved her life for some reason, and he also probably in the process got $500K out of it, and she was probably given the money, or she's hiding it, or helped him hide it. It's somewhere floating out there, and that's what his motivation really is now.
Well, go ahead.
No, you said.
Well, he said he stole $500,000 for her. Like you said, what the money went to, we're not sure, but she doesn't have it anymore because her husband was willing to pay it back to Mickey for him to get lost. So I don't think that she has the way the impression that I got. It doesn't seem like she still had access to it. It kind of that was probably used to help her or whatever. I don't know, but her husband is like, I have money here, take it and kick rocks.
Perhaps, maybe she had the money, met this guy, she gives it to him. He's a producer. Maybe that's how he started, like, making it big. Right? Helping to produce movies with the $500K that he received back in the 80s?
I don't know. No clue. Maybe we'll find out later.
That's a little bit of a head scratcher right there.
Yeah. Maybe we'll find out later.
He did say that stealing $500,000 for her pissed off a lot of people. I assume that these people are Ezra and Sean.
And Lee.
Oh yeah, Sean's
the actor,
right, and kind of just like the Fallout guy, or the guy that he was the one who actually committed the crime, and then they set Mickey up for it,
which we still don't know exactly what it was, right?
What happened?
Yeah. So the last thing, which was kind of on a funny note that we saw in that scene, of course Claudette saved the Cadillac. She had it fixed up. Everything was just as good as new. She popped the trunk, and there was a box of black girl booty porn in the trunk. Just what Mickey wanted. He was excited. It was like that. Oh, babe, you remember? It was like one of those moments, which was, it was endearing. It was endearing. It was cute.
I thought it was
for what it was.
I thought it was endearing when she said, "Now you have both of the black beautiful women back in your life, her and then this black Cadillac." That was awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. So hopefully we'll see more from the Claudette situation, because even though she said that she, was happy where she was, considering the fact that Mickey doesn't seem to listen to anybody, and if you tell him to, kind of fall back, he does what he wants anyway, I wouldn't be surprised if he still lurks around Claudette's life. What do you guys think?
I think so. I feel like Mickey wants to get rid of Producer Man, like rub him out and then get Claudette all for himself, and maybe get the house, and I could see that happening.
I feel like he fits in Palm Springs much more than he does in LA.
Yeah, he does. He does.
He makes sense. They still have a piano bar there. I mean, he's tipping the piano guy $5. And
now, was that supposed to be in Palm Springs still?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. So Van Miller drove all the way out there to go see him, and they went to that buggy whip place as well. See, that kind of makes more sense to me. I was thinking like he drove back to LA, and that's where Miller got with him and found him in the restroom and all that. Okay, that makes more sense, because also it's like, I think the perception is there's a lot more gay clubs and stuff out in Palm Springs. Am I right?
I would think there would be more here in LA, but I don't know.
But there are a lot of gay conventions in Palm Springs.
Palm Springs actually has the largest I think it's the largest per capita gay population for a city in
Really?
the United States. I looked it up when I went over there one time. Pretty fascinating.
Why?
Why? Well, I was visiting with my family. No, but you look it up on Wikipedia because I had no idea about Palm Springs at all. Looking up the population, and the first thing in the first paragraph says about all the gay events and the gay population there. It was just really fascinating and interesting.
Well,
What was that?
the more you know.
Yes, thank you, Marissa.
All right, so
Before I think your original question is Claudette still going to be around? Yes, she has to be. As long as Daryl's around, I think Claudette's going to be around. I think Mickey is still going to go after Claudette because he's an alpha male type. From meeting Claudette, I think it's obvious that Bunchy and Daryll were able to become super close. Also, a good bottle of old cognac will bring anybody together.
True.
I guess, yeah.
which Bunchy stole
Bunchy
from the
stole?
house.
This
That
was
was
awesome. Yeah.
Awesome impersonation of Mr. Producer.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah.
So another big event in the episode, Abby and the Donovan family are really trying to get Bridget into Bel Air Prep, which is, one of the top schools in Los Angeles, the Los Angeles area. And Abby planned for this. She wanted Ray to come as a family, but of course, since Ray is always working, she kept saying, Ray, you promised me this one day. We saw them at the beginning getting dressed. Well, she was getting dressed, had a very nice outfit on. She cleans up really well. I really like Sean, you pointed that out.
Yeah, you're right, Kennelia. She looked elegant, I thought. She always looks elegant and professional when she needs to. And then when she goes out to galas or events, she can look elegant but still sexy at the same time. And of course, the way she dressed up, it was very professional because they're going out to their child's potential school. They wanted to make an impression upon all the other parents there, the board members, people who would make it easier for their kid to get into the school.
She had her Southie biker tattoo covered up on
She
her shoulder.
did.
Yeah,
She
it was
did.
great. It was nice.
She did. So they arrive she finally gets Ray to come along. He really didn't have a choice. So, he comes.
He didn't want to piss off his wife.
Yeah, he didn't have a choice. He had to show up. When they arrive, one of the first people we saw was Stu. Of course, we saw in a few episodes back, Stu has a lot of connections at all of the prep schools in Los Angeles.
He even mentioned that he was on the board for this school and he could make it easier for Ray's kids to get in, or he said, or they can't get in. Whatever.
He's on the board for Marlboro.
Oh.
And that's why Abby was like, what is he doing here? It turns out his son goes to Bel Air.
His son turned around, looked really douchey. Like, he had his little polo shirt collar flipped all the way up.
Jeez.
Yeah. Hop in your prep school collar.
Like, come on, dude.
I hated that kid the minute I saw him.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
did too. I had just this visceral reaction where I was just like, ugh.
And he looked just as bad and douchey as Stu Feldman looks.
He did.
Right?
Yeah.
He did.
Yeah.
So he eventually takes Connor onto a tour. So while all that's going on, we see the interaction with the boys group with Connor and then the girls group with Bridget. And it was
We see the interaction with the parents as well.
yeah, that's true. With the kids, the girls, it was a little more like, oh my God, girl, yeah, you're wearing kids. Like, it was really superficial, typical girl, Bel Air girl, I guess. That's how girls in Bel Air act.
I felt like they were being mean girls.
They were.
Yeah.
They were kind of talking down to her a little bit, but she wanted to fit in with them, so she tried to latch on to anything she could, I felt.
Yeah.
I didn't think that.
What did you think?
I felt I think that she liked the school because she saw potential, like she could learn things there, and there's an opportunity there for her. But I think that she was guarded with those girls.
She was, but then there was that one during that conversation, the same one with those girls that were there, when they told her you can be anybody you want to here, she was really thinking about that. She was doing a little introspective and she was probably thinking to herself like, wow, I can really do anything, because she seems like this really nice, good girl. Like, Ray actually did something right raising her, you know? And she who knows what she's going to do when she gets here. She might be a bad girl. She might start acting out. She might start doing all kinds of, like, weird sexual things like the other girls are going to be doing. Who knows? Or drugs.
Yeah. I get a little naive vibe from her. She's a very smart girl, but I see her not being street smart. And I don't mean like street smart, like really street smart, but I mean like just the situation with Marvin Gaye Washington, and now with the Mean Girls. It seems like she's going to have to really find her way and to figure out who's genuine, who's not, who wants to take advantage of her, and who doesn't, which is normal for most teen girls, but we get to see it. On the other side, we saw Connor hanging out with boys. They were having boy talk in the classroom, and Tommy Wheeler comes up.
And were they talking about Tommy? I felt like they were talking about Tommy Wheeler's movie, right? During that whole thing, and then he ends up saying like, "Oh, I know him."
Yeah, being, he was being so innocent. He was like, "I know him." They asked him to call him on the speakerphone. He calls him.
Stu Feldman's son asked him to call
Yeah,
him. He's like, no, do it on speaker.
He calls him on the speakerphone, and Tommy Wheeler's like, yeah, hey, bro, you see the movie yet? Cool, come over.
Hey, little dude. That's like his little love muffin name for him.
Yeah.
Little dude.
So Connor gets off the phone like, that's Tommy Wheeler.
Yeah. Like
Nailed it.
in your face, Feldman's son.
Yeah.
And little Stu comes in with the kill, and was like, well, my dad told me that Tommy Wheeler is a perv. So if he invited you over to his house, that means that basically you're a perv too.
You're sucking his ding dong.
Right.
Okay, well, first of all, in this case, Stu Feldman's son happens to be right. Okay, but Connor doesn't know that. And like 2 minutes before that, Stu Feldman's son was like, yeah, Tommy Wheeler's really cool, and he shot people in his underwear in the movie.
Yeah.
That's what he sounded like. That's how he talked.
The whole conversation was gravitating around a movie and talking about their hero, and Tommy Wheeler is playing that character or whatever. And of course, Stu Feldman's son, he's probably like the alpha male in his little group of kids that they're hanging out with. And then right when it turns to be like, oh, there's this new threat. Oh, Connor, he's going to be like a cool kid now. Everybody's going to want to hang out with him because they want to hear what hanging out with Tommy Wheeler's like. You know what? I'm going to shoot that down. Mm-hmm. It's so funny how it just flipped so suddenly.
Yeah. But Connor turns out to be a little bit of a badass.
He's got some of Ray in him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He totally nailed Feldman Jr. in the back of the head. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, so with a weapon.
With a blunt object.
And so that nobody sees him.
Yeah, that was really smart.
Just keeps on walking.
And totally walks away.
Just keeps walking, never looks back.
And
it was awesome.
It was awesome. It made me feel so good for him, but then he didn't keep it up enough. He didn't keep up his whole poker face. He ended up confessing and saying, oh, okay, he's an ass. I really did hit him, yeah. And what was funny was that Stu was actually, oh, I'm sure it was an accident. You didn't do, he didn't mean to hit you. He was, sticking up for Connor.
Yeah.
Because, mind you, Stu still had the handband on from when Ray broke his fingers. So Stu wasn't going to be like, what's up, man? You hurt my son? No, because Ray probably would have beat him down, too.
Well,
again.
And yes. And, Sean, I want to, disagree with you, that he messed up where he didn't keep it up. He let it go when Ray said, I'm going to ask you this once.
Yeah.
And I think that he doesn't want to lose that trust.
Between him and his dad.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a really good point. But it's so funny because he learned all this behavior from Ray, his dad. And even Ray, he went off. And now we're talking about the adult perspective, what's going on. Ray went off and he did a job, got scratched, probably doing something illegal, right? We'll probably talk about that a little bit later. But he comes back to the Bel Air Academy, and he's got all these scratches on his face, and he's lying to everybody. He's lying to all his family members, even, silently lying to the guy in the bathroom. yeah, like, you don't know where I got these, but I'm probably gonna kick your ass, you know, I'm just not saying anything.
Yeah.
I loved that scene.
That was an awesome
But this
scene.
was the guy who was giving him the finger
Yes.
during the presentation. That was, at first I was like, wait, what's going on? And you saw Ray looking around like, wait, what is happening? Is he doing that with me? Like a little kid, the guy would turn back around and give him the finger again. Poor Abby was like, what?
Yeah. And
Did
then,
she see it?
Maybe, well, she is, well,
she
she
was certainly
was-
there
yeah.
when he came and confronted them
Yeah.
while they were having coffee and pastries.
Which, that was awful, man. But that was kind of cool how Ray, from a guy's perspective, that was kind of cool that he tried to play it like, hey, dude, why are you bothering me? I'm here with my wife. We're just having coffee. No big deal. It's like my day off, pretty much. And sure, you know that I'm this strong arm guy, but why are you coming up to me right now? At a school, no less, right? And then I think it was kind of strategic how he let his wife defend him for a little bit. And he's like, oh, honey, don't. You know?
Because, and the reason why the guy came up to him was because he could. He called him an errand boy. I mean, that was a mistake,
Yeah.
I feel.
Total
So
mistake.
You shouldn't call Ray Donovan an
Yeah.
errand boy.
But later we find out that guy's all talk. In the bathroom, he sees the scratches on Ray's face. He's like, whoa, this guy really does get down and dirty. I do not want to mess with him. He's way bigger than me, and he probably just killed somebody right now.
yeah. And poor Abby, it's coming to the point where she can't go to any event without either having to curse somebody out, she gets approached with some scandal that Ray's involved with, or she has to help someone's drunken wife or girlfriend with vomiting outside in the parking lot.
Holding her hair.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like it should be like, you promised me, Ray, this one day you're going to stay away. I'm going to take the kids. We're going to do this event. And you stay away from, because I feel like Ray complicates things for her.
He does.
Yeah.
And the whole day, Ray was working. Even though he had to go off for a little bit. I wonder how far he went, but he came back to the academy, and the whole time his phone's vibrating on him, which is cool. Like for my day job, I'm a remote worker too, you know. But that's cool that he can do that. That he can like have his phone on him, and he just like gives people orders and tells people what to do.
Yeah. Speaking of cell phones, guys, don't forget to keep supporting us on iTunes. We have been doing this after show for only a few episodes, but you guys have been going crazy with the downloads. Thank you, everybody, for supporting us. Keep supporting this after show and all the other after shows as well.
You guys have been going crazy with the downloads, but you have not been rating or commenting.
True.
And we need that. We need it, not only for our own validation, but we do need it to stay on iTunes.
We want the interaction. Guess what? This is like a book club up here. We're talking about our favorite show, which is your favorite show, Ray Donovan.
Or you wouldn't be here.
And or else we wouldn't be here, right? So we want you guys, though, since you're listening to our podcast, go ahead and rate and comment us. And the most important thing there is comment. If you're on the YouTube channel, if you're on iTunes, go ahead and give us a comment. You can even tweet at us too, okay? And then we're going to read out your tweets, your comments, and we're going to discuss that here on the show.
We're good responders.
We are.
We are.
5 stars, guys. Don't forget, and thank you.
And also, while they're on the iTunes store, they can go ahead and type into the search bar Serial Buddies, and you guys are going to get yourself an independent film written and directed by Kevin Undergaro. It's a awesome mismatch of Dexter meets Dumb and Dumber together, and it's got so many cameos in it. Awesome cameos from a bunch of stars. We got Christopher Lloyd, Christopher McDonald, Artie Lang, Kathy Lee Gifford's in it too.
Yeah,
Maria
Beth Bears
Menounos.
Maria Menounos, of course. Beth Bears from Two Broke Girls. Henry Winkler does a voiceover.
He does the narration.
Yeah.
Yeah. So go ahead and download that. It's like dirt cheap. It's like $6.99, man. I bought it myself. I loved it. Amazing, funny film. Go ahead and do that. And guess what? It helps us keep the lights on here.
$5.99, I think.
$5.99.
Even better.
It's even better. So it keeps the lights on here at AfterBuzz TV, and we need your support.
So while this whole situation at the school was happening, from the very moment that Ray woke up until, the day was done, the thing that was involved with that he was looking at in his cell phone, what he was so involved with on his cell phone, he was trying to make sure that Mickey goes back to jail for killing the priest. He had a warrant in works. We saw last episode that they found the guy who picked Mickey up and drove him to the church while he shot the priest. He was going to point Mickey out in a lineup.
Yeah.
He did that.
He did it. I'm
Yeah,
sure
he
they
did it.
used a photo lineup, which is what they typically do, especially when the suspect is not around.
He pointed him out. Ray gets the call. Hey, Ray, everything's a go. We're just working the warrant out. Mickey needs to be in LA to get served. So while Ray was
Get arrested, rather.
Yeah, to get arrested. While Ray was at the school, this is what one of the things that he was dealing with. But we found out later that that's not going to happen. Somehow, somewhere, somebody put a stop to it. But we saw that it was Van Miller, the agent that we met last episode as well, the creepy little guy with the stash.
Yeah.
He told Mickey, I want Ezra, Lee, and Ray. So that kind of changes things now, especially with Mickey, because Mickey knows, in my opinion, Mickey knows Ray hates him. He's salty at all of them for putting him in jail for something he didn't do. So I don't see anything holding Mickey back from throwing all of them under the bus and getting what he wants, which may potentially be Ray's family. Because I really think that Mickey wants his family.
I think he wants all of his families and every seed he put out there.
Yeah, which is creepy. And flash forward to the beginning of the episode, Ray has a dream that Mickey was having sex with a woman, and then the woman was replaced with Abby, Ray's wife, which was weird.
It was 3 women. The first was a black woman. The second was, and we didn't see her face, which made sense because we know how he loves dead ass. But but then we saw she had like dark hair. I think Sean, you said she was Latina, maybe.
I think she looked like she was Latina. She kind of looked like, I want to say Michelle Rodriguez, like that kind of a look to her. And then she had brunette hair, and she had like a weird wound on her forehead.
On her head, yeah.
Yeah, like a gunshot wound or something.
Yeah.
And it was like she was okay. Well, obviously because it's in a dream.
And then it was Abby. So it's a weird dream. A weird dream.
Man, I would hate to have a dream where my dad was effing my wife. That would be awful.
Yeah, that's great. That's gross and creepy.
Grotesque.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
so like I said, we saw Van Miller followed Mickey all the way to Palm Springs, met him in the bathroom after Mickey had, the table conversation with his sons. And that's where he tells Mickey what he wants to happen.
He was doing that flossing in the men's bathroom. Dude, seriously, man, you're putting your fingers in your mouth with the floss in a public bathroom where it's like all kinds of other people's germs and like fecal matter floating around in the air. That's disgusting. And it totally shows how much of a like OCD this guy is, but at the same time, he doesn't think about like all the other unsanitary things. He just wants to do his thing with the floss.
Yeah.
Which is really weird.
It was gross.
And it shows how like with him stopping the whole warrant too, that shows like how much leverage he has over local law enforcement. Like,
he's FBI.
Yeah, but the thing is, like we were proposing last time, like he's probably working alone, like you said, or I don't know, one of you
was
two.
like some freelance.
Yeah, like I think you said this, Anna. You said like, hey, the captain tells him, hey, you're off the case, and he's like, you know what, I'm gonna work on it anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it seems like he really still has a lot of pull, so he probably is on a legitimate kind of investigation.
You're right. But it did seem like he went rogue. He was in that isolated office alone. He drank his beer alone. There were no decorations. Looked like it was a basement, like a basement apartment.
It looked like, yeah. It looked really creepy.
Yeah. So he does, like you say, he probably does have some pull because he got the warrant stopped. And that's happening in Boston. That's not even happening in LA. So for him to even know that something like that is going on over there shows how much in tune he really is.
Well, but he's FBI, it's federal, so if he has like a tap on Mickey at all times, then that information would just be sent to him
Yeah, and
automatically.
any kind of cases where it has to do with like organized crime, that's all federal investigations. That's their jurisdiction right there.
Cool. So, on a lighter note, Terry has a date with the nurse,
Francis.
We found out her name was Francis at the gym. They had a date at the gym.
Okay, and is it me or did Sweet Potato Pie completely swoop in on that date?
He did. He wanted to be involved, it seemed like, really bad. He was banging around in the background while he was supposed to be cleaning up and mopping. She didn't seem to mind, but Terry seemed very annoyed by it, and at one point he was just like, fine, Potato Pie, come out here.
Yeah, that was funny. I really liked that whole scene. It did make it a lot lighter because the whole episode was just such a serious, like, graphic episode too, like right in the beginning. But back to this, like the dinner, it was funny, humorous, and not like a dark humor, more of like a light humor and like a romantic kind of humor. Again, like that getting back to the whole bathroom thing, it's kind of unsanitary in a way how they're eating, and then even Terry himself mentions like, oh yes, I'm sorry, it smells, there's a lot of like sweaty men in here, it's a boxing studio. Of course.
She's like, it's fine. She had to ask Terry how she looked. Terry.
He has been out of the game too long.
Yeah. Yes. And that's why I was saying I think Potato Pie kind of like swooped in on the date. He knows Terry. He knows that like he doesn't have any game. He needs to like be, because he was a little flirty, I felt, with Francis.
He was.
In a way, but I felt like he was trying to help his buddy out more. His boss, right? He's trying, he was doing everything to impress her. He doesn't, oh well, I'm sure he sees the nurse come in and out and give the injections all the time. But I feel like he really genuinely, from a guy's perspective, I feel like he does want to help out Terry. It's just that he kind of wants some credit for his cooking because he's the one who did it.
Yeah, I mean, I think that I'm sorry, what were you?
No, go ahead.
I think that if he really wanted to help his buddy out, he would have made the spaghetti sauce and left.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't like come in and be like, all right, cool, pour me a glass of wine. And because he does have, like, he has the personality and he knows Terry. He knows that Terry does not, and he's very uncomfortable. And
see, but that's the thing, though. I think that the reason why he wanted to intervene, because he could hear how badly the date was going. And he wanted to be like, okay, dude, I'm going to be like your wingman and sit down here and take some of the pressure off of you.
I can see it both ways.
All right.
But if we see Potato Pie trying to get Francis's phone number later,
then we'll know you ladies are right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a cute scene, and it was, it was nice to see that Terry finally made the move to get another woman in his life. And Francis doesn't seem to mind. She doesn't seem to mind, that Terry's a little shy, or that he called Potato Pie out there and that he didn't make the dinner.
Yeah.
I would have loved to have been in the writer's room when they named this character. They're like, you know what? I think we need a character named Potato Pie. I think this is really going to add to the storyline.
Between him and Marvin Gaye Washington.
I mean, honestly.
What about Recon?
And Recon. Come on.
They're getting creative.
Yeah.
They're not.
Yeah. Between Marvin Gaye Washington and the others. So, going back a little bit, just briefly, while Ray was at the Bel Air prep, he got a call from Lena. Somehow, they found a way to wiretap some unknown woman's hotel or apartment. I wasn't sure what that was.
I think they're hotel rooms. So they're wiretapping hotel rooms, it seems like. At first, in previous episodes, we see Lena, like, watching this stuff, and she's listening, too, on her headphones. I thought it was something like she was, because they're all in the entertainment industry. Like, they got their fingers in all those people. I thought they were watching maybe porn, and they were doing something with it, like writing down stuff, or I don't know. But now it gets revealed that they're wiretapping hotels, probably hotels where famous celebrities go, because the woman that came out of there looked like a Demi Moore kind of person.
And she said, we're people too. I'm a person too. So that's something that a celebrity would usually say, somebody who has their run-ins with the paparazzi, very Lindsay Lohan-ish, not in the crazy sense, but
She seemed to know him.
Yeah, I got that. Yeah.
And I'm getting more and more confused about what it is that they do. Because at first it was like, well, Ray's a fixer. Okay, we can wrap our minds around that. But now between the wiretapping and the guy in the bathroom saying, like, I'm sorry, it's just, you guys, took everything from me in my divorce. Like, who are these guys? What do they do?
I think they extort people. And me and Kennelia were talking about this off air before we got started on the podcast. But I feel like, and I wrote this down in my notes, Ray and his group, what they're doing with the wiretaps is that they're extorting people. They do this specifically in hotels where celebrities are known to go. They go in there, they do stuff with probably not people who are not their husbands or not their spouses, right? And then they use it against them to say, hey man, we got this on you. They're the mob. Hey, we got this on you. You better pay up or else we're going to leak this to the media. And Lena, she does like media control. Lee, he does that same kind of thing too. He's a lawyer, right? So he can probably leak this to all his contacts and they're going to get money out of it. And they're so powerful where they're controlling the movies that are being put out there and the money flow. That's my hypothesis.
Maybe.
I think if they do that, that's just one thing that they do. Because even, they do that, but on the other end, Lee is trying to buy a child. He's trying to buy little Marvin Gaye Washington, so that's one thing. They, clean, if someone dies in your hotel room and you're a celebrity, they'll go clean that up, so that's another.
They have an investment in Tommy Wheeler.
Yeah, so
he's a celebrity that's on their A-list movie from Feldman's Studios, right? They have their fingers in everything. It's like they're diversifying their stocks.
But somehow they know forensics. They know,
yeah.
And they're like a small group. It's not like they have, I don't know. I don't know what they do.
Everybody has their own specialty, right? Ray, he's like the strong guy when he needs to, but he kind of like directs all the strong arm people. And then Lena, she's like the intelligence specialist because she's back there like with the computers and with all the high-tech equipment.
They're like a one-stop shop for crime. That's it. They're like a drive-through.
Yeah.
You got a crime? Hey, we got what you need. You need fixing? Cool. We help everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They do a lot. But this episode, again, it was really interesting. And it ended with Mickey, still in Palm Springs, pulls up to a club called the Buggy Wagon. I believe that's what it's called.
Yeah, the Buggy Whip, actually.
The Buggy Whip. He asked his sons, hey, you want to come in? Yeah, like ready to party. Mickey was ready to party. They kind of knew what it was. Well, Daryll did at least. He was like, I don't know if we want to go in here. No, you go have a good time.
See, when I saw them say that, I was like, why are they saying that? And I thought to myself, oh, is it because it's like a place where old people go? Yeah, we don't want to go in there, whatever. But it ended up being a gay club.
Mickey, closing scene, on the dance floor, having a blast, snorting a stranger's Coke.
Which was, I thought to myself, why would he be in there? Probably because he likes music. It sounded like 80s to early 90s kind of music. And he probably wanted to get free drugs.
Yes. I think that meth is actually a bigger drug in specifically the gay club techno scene, which is what that is. And to do a bump that small off of somebody's finger, I would think, and like as sweaty as he was getting, and I don't know.
Well, I don't think Mickey cares at this point in his life. He's an old guy. Like he's probably lived through a lot and nothing bothers him.
I mean, that's why if I went to prison for 20 years for something I didn't do, I would be doing the same thing. I'd be like, yeah, just like fill me with drugs and alcohol. I'm gonna die soon, He
did it off his finger. I felt like he had like a tiny vial.
Yeah,
like,
it looked like a little vial.
Yeah, like maybe like the capsules. Like if you broke it open and you had half of it, if it seemed like it was that.
Why would they have half a capsule of cocaine? What are you talking about?
I don't know.
It's like he held it up to his nose, and Mickey just, he didn't care. He didn't ask, hey, what's this? No, he just did it. He just did it. He took it.
So it was cocaine. It wasn't. I thought you said it was meth.
I thought it was. That's what I'm saying. You guys are saying it's coke. I'm thinking it's meth. I don't. Who knows? You know, we weren't there. So
Can you snort meth? Just like straight up snort it, or do you have to? Because all I watch is Breaking Bad, so all I know is they smoke it on there.
you can straight up
Or
snort it.
you can inject
You can
it
even
too.
mainline it. Yeah. You can swallow it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, guys, there we have it. So let's get into some news and gossip.
AfterBuzz TV News.
Okay, I think I got a couple of things on here. Okay, I just wanted to talk about one of our comments that we got from one of our fans. Fazzarelli on our YouTube channel said, "Little Marvin Gaye Washington, like most males in a broken home, raised themselves, hence him approaching Bridget the way he did."
Yeah.
So I think, yeah, that's a good comment. Thank you for bringing that up, Fazzarelli.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, but I think that's all like the news and gossip I got.
I don't have
Did
news and
you?
gossip.
All right, guys.
Now, I wanted to say that Pooch Hall actually has been, he's been tweeting a lot, and I noticed that his Twitter profile actually is the same picture that he picked up on the coffee table in the Mr. Producer's
Oh,
house.
the little football.
Yeah,
With the football
look,
uniform.
Do you see it? It's the same one.
Oh, that's cute.
Yeah, isn't that funny?
That's
So
hilarious.
if you guys want to check that out, go to Pooch Hall at @IM_Pooch Hall, and you can see that same picture with his football jersey and stuff when he was like what do you call that?
Pop Warner.
Pop Warner football. Yeah, like middle school football.
Is that his stage name or his real name?
I'm pretty sure that's his
I think that's
stage
his.
name.
I think he has a real name, but his nickname has been Pooch forever.
Yeah.
So I think he just goes by Pooch.
He's from that show, The Game.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
He used to be on the
BET.
game.
Right.
Yeah.
All right, let's get into some predictions, guys. The juicy stuff.
And now, your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
I kind of said this earlier, but I'm gonna, piggyback off of it. Mickey's not leaving Claudette's life. I think one reason why he was at the club and he was dancing and, and doing what he was doing, he seemed a little defeated when he left Claudette's house. Like when they were in the garage, when she said, I like my life here. I'm just gonna, chill out and do what I'm doing. He seemed a little beaten down by that. So I think the way Mickey is, I think he's gonna be in her life and he's going to be around and he's not taking no for an answer. I just don't see it happening.
All right. I see Connor getting himself into increasing, from the first episode he's been getting into fights. I'm gonna say he's gonna get himself into more danger situations.
If I could go off of that, I feel like even though he would get himself into more dangerous situations, he would probably kick butt. Because look at the way he handled himself there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He just straight up nailed Feldman Jr. and walked off the field. And he was even like tattletelling on him, right? And he just like, I know what I'm going to do. I'm just going to walk away. I wanted to say, for my prediction, that I think Van Miller, the agent, will die by the end of the season. Because this guy seems like, even though he's very OCD, he seems to have like a good investigative knack for finding out like who's like involved in the mob, and obviously using Mickey as a resource. However, I feel like overall he seems like a really weak character, and he's working behind the scenes and no one knows what he's doing, at least in the mob, except for Mickey, and he's the only one that has a connection. And so I feel like if Ray got wind of this, Ray would totally pummel this guy into nothingness, probably give him some lead shoes and put him at the bottom of the Santa Monica Pier.
Let me tell you something. I would want to absolutely agree with you on that. And people with OCD, their Achilles heel is that they have a routine. And so it would be very easy to take them out. Car bomb, something. Very easy to take them out.
Thank you, Anna. That's a really good point.
Mm-hmm.
Ray could poison his floss.
Yeah.
He could.
Poison by floss.
All right, guys, this has been another Ray Donovan After Show. You can find me at Kennelia on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Where can we find you guys?
And you can follow me at Koppel for Mayor, KOPPELFORMAYOR.
And you can find me at Sean Austin O on Twitter and Instagram.
Don't forget to tune in. Same time, same place, guys. See you later.
From Bing.com, executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz
you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.